Dude, they copied me. They so copied me. They copied me. The heck is this? I'm going to get coffee. I don't have time for this shenanigans. I don't have time for these shenanigans. At the restaurant with the goofy stuff on the walls. Oh wait, I gotta make the coffee first.
Nice launch checkdown countdown net. Pad is clear.
10, 9, 8,
Launch auto sequence
7,
started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
All right. How are you feeling today?
Vehicle is supersonic.
I don't know. Let's see how we are on the other side of this launch, huh?
Dragon, separation confirmed. Stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed.
Landing operators move to step 11.100 and proceed to recovery net.
Good morning, everyone.
Shiva.
My name is Shiva Bharadwaj, and I'm a space operations engineer here at SpaceX. I'll be your host for SpaceX's 48th launch of 2022 and our 186th mission overall. Now, the teams are currently tracking no issues with the vehicle or the spacecraft.
Hey,
The weather
Sky.
and the range are both green for today's launch, and we're proceeding with a T-0 of
Yeah, that's
10:50
crazy.
a.m. Eastern Time.
Ah,
As I mentioned,
Dude,
the range
I could
is
start
currently
launch
green
every-
and
I could
ready
start-
to
I could
support
start my day
liftoff
every
just
day with
under
a
4
launch.
minutes.
That would be
excuse
sick.
me, just under 5 minutes from now. And in preparation for liftoff, we're standing by for the transporter erector to retract.
okay. Applause should open.
Go at throttle up.
So what we're seeing here,
We just
guys,
read that.
this is Starlink Group 436. It's a Starlink launch out of Slick 40, Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Yeah, 49th launch for SpaceX, as Shiva just said, this year, which is we a couple of years ago, guys, we'd be lucky to get 49 launches
Discovery, go at
in
throttle
a
up.
year by everyone. Everyone. Like, SpaceX is single-handedly just, all right. Hey, Airborce, what's up,
Discovery,
man?
Go at throttle up.
Napfin, 11-month resub. Airborce had a 58er in there. Bear Summit had a 14er.
Shot of it here in the background, and it
Pretty
looks
sweet.
like a beautiful day to fly.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Your voice sounds much better. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there watching. Yeah, I've been just sleeping. I got like 12 hours of sleep. Sleeping, fluids, maybe a little bit of whiskey, some G&T. Long drink definitely helped. Honey,
Discovery,
yeah,
go at
I've
throttle
been
up.
trying to, I gotta shake this. I really gotta shake it.
Now we're just awaiting liquid oxygen
Wet
loading
from me,
complete
Bob boy.
on both the first and
I
the
know,
second
Blue Flare,
stage.
yeah.
Stage 1 lock load complete.
Perfect timing. There's that call out.
No,
So if-
no, gin and tonic, G&T. It helped the alcohols.
Discovery,
Clears
go at
out the
throttle up.
sinuses. And it helped me sleep really well. Yeah, it's great. Jackal, give the sub to Jake and Wolfie. Thanks, Jackal. Right on, man.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Lo-fi rocket launches to study and relax to. It cleared out my sinuses, Shaw.
And you
Not
can
gonna
see
lie
some
to you.
humidity forming around the first and
That's right,
second
Tommy,
stage.
yep.
That's totally normal as we're topping off the tanks.
I hope so.
The cryogenic liquid oxygen we load is very cold, and it's causing clouds to form around the vehicle from that moist Florida air.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Fellas, here you go. I got something for you. Check this out. I anticipated that this might happen, so you get the side-by-sides. 154. It's actually cold in Florida today? What's the temp?
Stage 2 lock close.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So with that, we've got
During the launch,
a
though, I'm
million
switching to
pounds
Falcon now.
of fuel and liquid oxygen on both the
It was
first and the second
51 in
stage.
Bradenton,
And the
Anthony.
booster you've got on your
Dude, it's
screen is
warmer
flying
up
for
here.
its
It
10th
is
time today.
It's 50. It's
Ground
58
close out,
degrees out.
started.
It is warmer up here.
With that call out, we're going to be venting some propellants from the transport
that.
reactor. As I mentioned, this booster is flying for its 10th time, having previously flown the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 and 5 missions, Inspiration 4, Axiom 1, Nalsat 301, and 4 previous Starlink missions.
Dude, this booster has moved
We
people
are
into space 2
planning
times.
to recover this booster on our drone ship named A Shortfall of Gravitas, which is currently stationed in the Atlantic
Falcon
Ocean,
9
There you go, Dex.
following liftoff and stage separation.
It's awesome. Panther? Did they destack Starship because weather? You know what? I'm not 100% sure. Wake and bit. No, Forlorn. We're not doing that. I'll just wake. and
LD go for
ginger
launch.
it. Launch director reports go. T-minus 35 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds.
How do you tell the difference between upper and lower panels apart on the F-16? The amount of grease. Nice. Yeah, Genesis, I'm getting there. All right, here we go.
T-minus 10.
Sound suppressor should be turning on here.
7, 6,
There it goes.
5, 4, 3,
Green flash.
2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of
Send
Falcon
it.
9. Go Starlink, go Falcon.
Starlink 436 is airborne. It's a good way to start the day.
Vehicle 15 downrange.
Burb, 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 burb. Into the clouds. Oh yeah, folks, that's cool. Bird was like, "Oh snap!"
Nominal power and telemetry.
Throttle up.
That's nice.
The vehicle is supersonic.
Mach 1.
So with that, Falcon 9 is traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Pete, that's not funny.
Q.
Maximum dynamic pressure.
And we've just passed through the point of maximum dynamic pressure that we'll feel during the flight.
Falcon 9 set off some car alarms. Okay, so there's the radial outburn.
Impact chill has begun.
Discovery,
And back
go
is
at
chilling.
throttle up.
So with that call out, we're about a minute away from main
Oh, yeah.
engine cutoff,
Did I ever
stage
tell you guys that?
separation,
These things are
and
way-
then
these
second
things are
engine
loud enough
start,
to
followed
set off a
shortly
car
after
alarm.
by
Oh,
fairing
yeah.
deploy.
Absolutely.
Those events will happen back to back.
Yeah, Greg, it's pretty
And
good.
with the call out of
think I can
MVAC
see
chill starting up, that
Blue
means
City
we've
from
begun chilling in those turbo pumps in preparation for second engine start.
Adventum, what's up? See the tilt? The radial out tilt? They've done that before, Forge. They've done that many times before. Yeah, that's right, Toto. You dang right. Stand by for Miko.
Nico.
There it is.
Stage separation confirmed.
Upper stage ignition.
And vac ignition.
Very nice.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Bye-bye.
So with that, those 4 events complete, we will be attempting
3
to
to the
recover
4th months
both
from
these
Tybot.
fairing
Thank
halves,
you.
again to use on a future mission.
Yeah, this iBox is pretty sweet.
If you're just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40 at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time.
It'd use the flight termination
On your
system,
screen,
Beefy. Yeah.
the right-hand side is our
AAFTS.
second stage, taking 54 Starlink satellites to orbit, and on the left-hand side of your screen is our first stage.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
First stage making its way back to our drone ship stationed off the coast of Florida and the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, dude. What SpaceX is doing is pretty cool. Oh, just in case you needed more SpaceX content. Here you go. Yeah, Dewey, believe me, I've seen one of these boosters up close. I've seen them land. It is strange. It is strange seeing that thing come down and land. It's very weird. It doesn't look right. And I'm not saying
I
like
mentioned a little bit
fake or
earlier that
anything.
today
I know
marks
I know what it's
SpaceX's
doing.
186th
It's pretty cool.
mission
Like it's
overall.
just don't look
Excuse me,
right. You
overall
know, like
launch.
it's like a plane
And
flying backwards.
as I previously
You're like,
mentioned, it's the 10th flight for this first stage. It previously flew the GPS space vehicle 4 and 5 missions, Inspiration 4, Axiom 1,
I saw the side-by-side dual
301,
landing, dude.
and 4
It was
Starlink
about,
missions.
I don't know, 4 or 5 miles away from that. We were on the causeway. I saw those two things come down right next to each other. That was weird.
The first stage's next major milestone will be its entry burn, where we will ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines.
Mid-flight guidance. Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
It looks strange, man. It's definitely strange.
And the second stage still has a few minutes to go here, with second engine cutoff number 1 just after 8 minutes into the flight.
You know the Merlin's throttle range. It can deep throttle down to 40%, Moto. Does it look like you're flying? It's flying, or is it falling? The first stage is on a very, very big ballistic arc right now. It's going to start coming down.
We are flying 54 Starlink satellites into orbit today. Starlink is a satellite internet constellation designed and manufactured by SpaceX to provide high-speed and low-latency internet to people living in remote and rural locations around the globe.
Dumb question. Could the second stage use different fuel from the first stage booster? Yep. How did the satellites
Next major milestone
They
coming
swing
up
the
in
second
about
stage
20
around
seconds.
and just let them go.
That'll be the entry burn on the first stage.
All right, here it comes. I think this is 10 flights for this one, Vasya. This one moved Inspiration.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Here we go. This one
Stage
moved.
1 FTS is saved.
This one moved AX1 and
So with that,
Inspiration
first
4.
stage has ignited 3
There's
of
my
its Merlin
supersonic
1D
retropropulsion.
engines to slow down for atmospheric reentry. This burned pretty quick, just about 20 seconds long.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Okay, here she comes. Whoa, that thing's really turning.
Both stages are following nominal trajectories.
Stygian,
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
long time no see. Yeah. What have you been up to? Hopefully good stuff. How's the landing burn? I don't know. It hasn't happened yet.
So next major milestone here will be the landing burn start for the first stage.
That's right, Panta. Tech, nothing. Atlas 5 has Hydrolox second stage, Carolox first stage,
The
and
sequence
solid
there will
rocket
be
booster
landing
attachment.
burn start.
Stage 1 transonic.
Nothing. It's just complexity of the vehicle.
So with
The
that
reason
call
why
out,
Elon
the
insisted
first
on
stage
using
is traveling
Carolox
near
for
the
first...
speed of sound as it's transitioning
The
through.
reason why Elon insisted on using Carolox for first and second stage was to keep the costs down for Falcon 9. Hydrolox is a
Followed
little
shortly
harder
after
to
by
mess
landing
with.
leg deploy, and around that same time we'll hear a call out for second engine cutoff on the second stage.
RJ, you can stand inside of that nozzle. Easily stand inside of that nozzle. That nozzle's like the size of a
Go at
teepee.
throttle up.
True story. Okay, there's the drone ship. Landing burn has started.
Stage 1 landing burn.
So the first stage has lit one engine to prepare for landing on our drone
Here we
ship.
go. Oh, different camera
And
angle.
shortfall of gravitas on the
There's
right.
that orange stuff. It's there again.
Landing leg deploy.
What the hell?
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And back shutdown.
Acquisition of signal to Finland.
So a few things called out there. First, Falcon 9 has landed.
NOI.
That marks the 48th landing of this year, 141st overall landing of a Falcon 9 first stage.
Guys,
Now, you also heard...
you want to get scale? Those are handrails on the sides. Right there. Those are handrails. So like a meter tall handrail. You can walk underneath Falcon 9. And you could, if I walked underneath the Falcon 9, the engines would be right here. I know because I've basically done that. You could walk underneath here. No problem. It's like 2 meters from the ground to the engines when the landing legs are deployed. If you want your sense of scale, it's freaking huge.
We will continue to have our nets live on YouTube, and you can also follow our social media accounts for confirmation of deploy. Thanks a bunch.
All right, Beefy. Yep. Do they plan missions assuming the booster lands fine? Yes. Yeah, silly, pretty much. So,
Off any nominal.
guys, I thought of something here. This camera angle kind of made me think of it. They're not spraying down the drone deck. They don't spray it. They used to spray it down with water. They ain't spraying it down with water anymore. This might be some corrosion preventative thing or whatever. How did we just watch Falcon 9 and you did not say the thing? I said the thing 2 times. Ladies be like, I won't date anybody that can stand under a Falcon 9. Jeez. I didn't hear the thing. Can confirm I heard the words.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Look at that. Yeah, Forge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Guys, it could be an ablative substance, Brandy. It could be something for Falcon 9 to lock onto. It could just be rust. It could just be rust, dudes. Have any recent Falcon 9s not come down where they planned it? The last Falcon 9 that didn't make it back was one that had a problem with the boots, one of the heat blankets on the engines, and that was in 2020. That was the last one that ever had a problem. Yeah, I know, Lou, right? Yeah, here. You guys want to see something cool? As if today wasn't, like, ridiculous enough. Look, here, check this out.
I just got to give a quick shout out.
You just got to give a quick shout out. Check this out. Drone patina. It's got patina, Franco. That's a good way to say it. It could be that. It could be rust. Could be a targeting system. I don't know. I don't know, dudes. I can't figure that one out. Seagoing vessel. Extreme heat and chemicals equals rust. You bet your left nut. Yeah, I got nukes. I'm kind of with you on that one. The 1050 landing. CRS 16. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. I think you may have misread my message. It's possible someone, you know. Haven't all the Falcon 9s landed on the orange patches, whether they have patches have been on the drone ship? I'm not sure about whether they've been on the drone ship or not, dude. I find it very interesting how they can narrow down the landing so well. I know drone ships help, but in theory, Elon could just throw things from space and land it in somebody's backyard. Sweet Potato, there's a very good reason why the United States Transportation Command, which is in charge of like DoD logistics, is looking into Starship to get supplies to places quickly. Oh yeah, there's a very good reason for that. Shindex, 49 months. Did you see the upcoming ATS update? Yes. Yeah, the STP-2 center core. Shame. What is Starship designed for, by the way? Let me change the title. So Starship is basically, okay, so the easy way to say it without SpaceX's like definition is to say that it's literally the best of the best parts of a Saturn V and the best parts of a space shuttle combined into one vehicle. Another way to say it is that it's a fully reusable launch system with a reusable first and second stage. Something like that rings, yeah. It could be Jackal, who knows? Oh, that's a great shot from RGB.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Stunman, 50-month resub. Saw there was a SpaceX event and immediately came here to check out the real commentary. Huh, thanks, Wheezy. This thing is basically designed to be a general purpose space vehicle. First of its kind. It's not just a space shuttle that moves into low Earth orbit. Starship is designed to basically go anywhere. You could land one on the moon. You could land one on Mars. You could go to other planets with it. You could make space stations with it. It's all the best parts of the space shuttle and all the best parts of the Saturn V combined into one vehicle. And it's fully reusable, which is just kind of crazy. It's designed to go space trucking. That's basically what Starship is supposed to do. So do you know what the actual purpose of that pitch up on ascent is? Well, they're burning slightly radial out to squeeze more performance out of the first stage, Aqualex. Yeah. Slight radial out to increase perigee height so the satellites, so the second stage can insert at a higher altitude at the expense of Delta V. Yeah. Did you see the stage separation system getting tested the other day? I did not. And they will rent it to NASA. NASA bought 2 flights for the Starship human landing system. Starship HLS, which is the lander for the Artemis missions, for Artemis missions. I had a dumb idea that SpaceX should just use an expendable upper stage to learn how to launch the first stage, but I'm guessing SpaceX has figured that out. Has a lot more figured out than we think. I don't think SpaceX needs help with recovering first stages. I'm pretty sure they have a good amount of experience with it, RJ. You know, considering what we just saw a second ago. Oh, yeah, I see it. I see the little thing going. Could Starship be considered our first blue water space shuttle? It needs to be refueled, Lunprod, so I wouldn't call it truly blue water. Maybe someone, yeah, it's possible. Look, I never said that it wasn't for landings. It could just be rust. Understand? You guys, you're hearing what you want to hear again. I never said that it couldn't be. I said that it could be anything. It could be just a rust patch. Could be corrosion preventative. It could be an advanced landing system. I don't know. Afternoon from the UK. Thanks for the coverage. No problem. No problem, sir. It could be Cheeto dust, someone. I mean, it looks like it's for landing because it's landed on them, right? But you can't. We have no way to prove it. You know what I mean? Could just be rust. Can that little thing push a 200-ton fully fueled ship at stage separation? If it's powerful enough, sure, why not? I'm trying to say you didn't, just providing more information. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. I got you. Well, that shot doesn't suck. Is there a scheduled launch for this thing anytime soon? Den, take this with a grain of salt. Elon said December. Take it with a grain of salt, though. Excuse me, one hop. Grid fins on the Starship are the same size? Oh, no, Shooker. Falcon 9, a fully stacked Falcon 9 is about this tall from the orbital launch deck. So from about here to about here. That's a full Falcon 9. No, those grid fins are way bigger. Like, way bigger. November's already out. Yeah, they said no for November. Pop drop time. Wow. ESA director Josef Aschbacher. Aschbacher. I can't say his name correctly. He never can. Confirmed at a briefing that the agency selected Falcon 9 to launch the Euclid mission next year. Another Falcon 9 will launch the Hera asteroid mission in 2024. Vega C will launch EarthCare, the EarthCare mission in 2024 as well. Man, Falcon 9 stealing Ariane's lunch. You need a screen pen. I can't see your mouse on mobile. Oh. Also, the mobile app sucks. Oh, okay. Okay, good to know. So, guys, if we were standing next to Starship. I know you just said you can't see the mouse, but for the people that can see, you see the pointer, right? See the little fin on the pointer, like this little back piece right here? Not the triangular part, that piece right there. That's how tall a person is. That little guy. Actually, probably a little bit bigger than that. Maybe about half the size of the straight edge of the mouse cursor. That's how big a person is. See the mouse cursor? Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Actually, yeah, about the mouse cursor. Actually, now that I'm looking at this from this camera angle, it's about the straight edge on the mouse cursor. That's how tall a person is. I mean, the thing is freaking huge. The tower is 500 feet tall. Guys, it's monstrous. Jeez, Forge. That's ridiculous. What is that in stories? 500 feet? About 50 stories tall? How many hand bananas tall? I don't know. big is a basket? Ugh, chat. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. They need a launch license at Ventum. It's going to take some time anyway, but also testing the Starship is going to take more time than it takes to acquire the launch license. So just, yeah, give it some time. They'll be ready to go soon. Turns out when you build the most complicated launch vehicle ever devised by man, it takes some time to get it right. So the booster will not be covered in heat plates, only Starship. The tiles, Lithuanian, yeah. Interestingly enough. I think that Starship, variant of Starship Toto will have some kind of remote manipulator system on it, dude. Yeah, Creeper, I just saw it over there. I saw it in Discord. Man, they're really building up. I honestly think the Starship launch tower is the highest building in a 200-kilometer radius. The only taller buildings in Texas are in Houston and in Dallas, dude. I don't think there's any building in Austin and San Antonio that's as tall as that thing. I think the shuttle is pretty complicated considering Starship is mostly empty. I don't know, Forlorn. What would you say? Would you say Starship is, or is the shuttle is more complicated? You know, like, I know the Starship has more engines, so, you know, more engines is more complication. No doubt. Shuttle only has 7 engines. 2 SRBs, 3 main engines, 2 OHMS engines, right? But also, the shuttle's flying on the side. So I would say that the guidance systems for the shuttle are pretty damn complicated, right? To get that whole balancing act to work. I mean, you know, you were here when I built one. It was that's not easy to do. That is not easy to do at all. But also at the same time, Starship lands autonomously, the first and second stage, and they get caught by a freaking gigantic mech. So I don't know. I think that is a little more complicated than the runway. Maybe Galveston. Havocs. I've never been to Galveston, so I wouldn't be able to say. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I think the shuttle might be the shuttle's still pretty damn complicated. But that's the end of that. The shuttle is still really, really complicated. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, guys, once again, the tower from the ground to the top here, to this right here, not including that little what's-he-do on the top, it's 525 feet. So it's actually a 52-story building. I don't think the only taller buildings in Texas, guys, buildings, not like radio antennas or anything. They're buildings in Dallas and Houston. I don't think anything is taller than that. I don't think Austin has 52-story buildings. It might. I've been there, and I've been to San Antonio. I've never been to Houston, but I know the buildings are huge there. I think the shuttle itself is more complicated, but the entire Starship system takes the cake. Yeah, Brian, I'm kind of with you on that one. The shuttle is complicated in its own regard, and this thing is complicated in its own regard. 525 feet. What's that in meters? Here. 160 meters. 159 if you want to be more, like, closer. I just round up because 160 is easier to say. It's big, dude. It's tall. That is a big structure. Yeah, 160 meters, dudes. That's your scale here. Starship's 9-meter core diameter. You know, someone was asking about Falcon 9, like, oh, You know, are the grid fins the same? No. No, 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 no. A Falcon 9 core is this size over here. Those tanks are similar to Falcon 9's diameter, 3.7 meter. This is 9. Yeah, and Falcon 9, if you stacked it, first stage, second stage payload fairing, if the bottom of the rocket was lined up with the bottom of Super Heavy, it would only go to basically the quick disconnect arm. That thing that's about halfway up if you can't see the mouse cursor. Yeah, Starship is gigantic. Starship itself, the ship, is as tall as a Falcon 9 first stage. It's huge. The Independent, which is 690 feet. Oh, there you go, Poison. Yeah, so there is one building in Austin that is taller than that. And even then, the building in Austin is here. Which is crazy. I know the MLV has spray-on foam. Could you use that on a reusable stage? I don't know. I mean, WD, here, check this out. So that's Starbase Live. Go to Space Coast Live. Dude, it's stacked. That thing is stacked. It's good to go. Which is just absurd. There are six taller than that in Austin, or so Wikipedia says. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Nice, Toto. Yeah, no, it's gonna be crazy, dude. It's crazy. So, see this thing right here? The gray thing? That's as tall as that building. If you've never seen the VAB, go down to Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center and take the tour. Take the bus ride past it. Your brain is telling you how big that building is. You're wrong. You're wrong. It's bigger than you think. Like, way bigger. Any ideas on Mechazilla 3's location? Oh, Havocs, I had a whole theory about that, dude. I had a whole theory about it. Mechazilla 3's location. You see that VAB? That's Mechazilla's location. That's my theory. That's my fan theory. It's pathetic fan theory, so just take it for what it's worth, okay? We know that SpaceX is building... another Mechazilla at Roberts Road, which is right here. So if we zap this over to here, there's some clouds. You know that they're building another one there. That's my fan theory, Havocs. It's just a theory. So something I noticed, or something that we in chat noticed, okay? So, we need to go to NSF's footage here, and we need to look at the last Cape flyover that they did. Here we go. So this is from our buddies over at NSF. So see, they're building another one. But it's one thing that I noticed. Actually, you know what? Greg Scott would be better. Greg takes some really good flyby photos here. Let's just go over to his tweeters. So check this out. Greg Scott took this picture the other day, and I'll give you guys the link because giving credit is super important. Oh, you have the latest flyover footage. Okay, let me take a look. I mean, we could use that too. All right, so look, Havocs, I have a theory. How many jigs do you see right there? Okay, keep in mind, this is my fan theory. It is completely baseless, and if you disagree with me, I 100% don't blame you. It's just something that I thought would be cool, and it's kind of an interesting fan theory, okay? That's clearly a Mechazilla tower. How many jigs do you see here? 6. The jigs are in a set of 4. They build them on these brackets right here. They build they build the thing on the brackets. See these rusty things here? So how many sets of 4 do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1. 5, 6, 7, 8. 2. 8, 9, 10, 11. 3. 12, 13, 14, 15. 4. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Or 20. Sorry, math. It's early. Long story short, there's 24. 24 divided by 4. 6, right? 6 towers. There are other jig plates lying around. Havocs, look. There's other stands to build more of these things. We know because they did that, right? But those things don't have anything attached to them, and they've stayed like that for the past couple of weeks. Now, you wouldn't stage your building materials on a spot where you're going to build one of these things, right? That makes no sense. You would want to stage your materials to the side and keep this area open so you could build. Now, if you notice, there's more jigs over there. See them? And those ones can go right there, but there's a bunch of parts laying on it. So we see parts for a half segment there. So 6.5 segments. Or 6 segments. 6 segments here is not enough to build a full Mechazilla. Right? Yeah, Kiki, I'm getting there. So some of those are lying unused. So whatever they're building is going to be shorter. It's going to be shorter than a full Mechazilla tower. And that got me thinking. Okay? Now, once again, if you think this is rubbish, I don't blame you. It's just, I thought it would be a cool thing to see. So SpaceX has built out heavy infrastructure to move the segments, right? They've built out heavy road infrastructure, and then you have Kennedy Parkway. Kennedy Parkway was always designed to move heavy things through here. You could tell because of the concrete roads and the high radius on the road. Big things are designed to roll in here. Anytime you see something like this, a road with a ridiculous radius and these triangular lines pointed on it, right? That means it's designed for something that's very, very long to go around this corner, right? In this particular case, that one is there because Falcon 9. It makes sense, right? You're moving a 150-foot or a 47-meter booster around the corner, right? You're going to need a big radius. The big radii on roads are key. That is key to figuring out where the heavy infrastructure is going. I can give you an example. So, if we go over here and look at, okay, let's look at Michoud, where they build SLS core stages, right? Here's the Michoud assembly facility. This is where they built S1Cs, Saturn V first stages were built here. Every shuttle external tank was manufactured here. Actually, every single one but like 2 of the Saturn V first stages were made here. They made all the external tanks for the shuttle program, all 135 of them, and then there's a couple of extras, actually. Unfortunately, those test articles that you see right there were destroyed in a hurricane, but this picture still has them there, which is kind of cool. They, in case you're wondering what that means, they built that thing right there. They built those. Now, look at that next to the pickup truck, and that should give you, that should tell you everything you need to know. This thing is not something that you can take down a regular road. First of all, it's way too heavy. Second of all, it's literally like 4 lanes wide. Yes, that is a real Saturn V first stage. Don't worry, it's not outside anymore. They moved it inside. Yeah, we did a deep dive on that one day. Because leaving a Saturn V first stage outside, a flight-ready one, flight-ready, quote, loose flight-ready. So a real one, let's just say. Leaving it outside is a travesty. That should never have happened. Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be punched in the face. So, okay, let's look. You know they're not taking these things out of here by truck. external tanks, SLS core stages, Saturn V first stages. They ain't taking them out of here by truck, so follow the heavy infrastructure. Okay, look. Bingo. Big radius road right there. Actually, you can see where they used to move S-1Cs before they retooled it for the space shuttle program. They used to move the Saturn V first stages down that thing right there. And look, enough to turn them around. Turning radius area. See all these radii? All the radii here are similar on these roads. So it goes down here. Now, Havoc's used, let's take some hints here. Remember I said it's the size of 4 lanes. Why would you need a 4-lane boulevard back here? You think you'd need a 4-lane boulevard because that road is well traveled? No, absolutely not. It's for moving gigantic freaking stages around. Now let's follow that road. Now you can see that there was a bridge right here at one point during the Apollo program, but they redid it and built it over here. They built a culvert instead of a bridge. Culvert is basically a pipe that's right here. They take a pipe and they bury it, and the pipe connects the drainage ditch. That is part of Michoud's draining system because Michoud is surrounded by levees because sometimes this water level, sometimes this river decides to get angry. Yeah. We almost lost Michoud in 2005. Seriously. We almost lost Michoud from Hurricane Katrina. If that levee wasn't there, yeah, this whole area would have been underwater. True story. They laid pipe. NASA does lay pipe, dude. That's what they do. Hey, rocket science is cool, man. It's cool to be a nerd, remember? So, look, 4-lane road. Look at the radius on that road. Dead giveaway. Look at the radius again. Oh, look, that's where the Pegasus barge attaches. So this is where they roll the stages. So you can tell. I can keep giving you examples if you want. It's all over the place. All you got to know is to know where to look, right? So heavy concrete, 4-lane roads, right? That's the rule of thumb. All right. So take a look. Let's go back over here. And also, I'm an infrastructure nerd. I'm not gonna not sit here and talk to you guys about how you need a heavy road to move a rocket around. That's really freaking important. So, okay. I know because we saw the plans. See that 3-lane road right there? Look, weird radiuses again. That's for moving Falcon 9s into the hangar, which is literally what's going on in this picture, which is kind of funny. Come down here. Oh, look, another radius again. But this radius is a little off-putting because it's designed to go into the right lanes, right? So, that's a 2-lane road. Yeah, I've seen the plans for this road. This road has a 12-foot subgrade on it. What that means in plain English is that it's designed for things that are heavy. There's also this road over here. Now, this road looks a little strange if you look at it up close. This one has an 8-inch subgrade, so it's kind of garden variety. But it has bike lanes on it. Bike lanes. It's wide. It's wide for a very good reason. When SpaceX was moving the segments to 39A, they moved it up this road and over this way. Now let's go look here again. I don't see any particular crazy radii going on here other than what you'd normally see in a Florida intersection. But also, this is a huge paved area, so the thing can go out here and turn. Right? So let's go down here, right? Once again, big heavy infrastructure, big meaty claws. You got a big radius right there. And then another 4-lane boulevard that looks just exactly like that one in Michoud. It looks exactly the same. Funny how that works. Now, oh look, another radius. Where does that one go? Oh, it goes to the same 4-lane boulevard. Oh, that goes into the VAB. See what I'm talking about? Really easy to spot. Now, the reason why these roads were originally radiused like this is for S4Bs. The Saturn V third stage would come in via truck during this part. It was actually flown in. We talked about this yesterday. So here, take a look. The S-4B was flown in the Super Guppy. That's actually Skylab, but you get the idea. Yeah, that thing can fit inside of the Super Guppy. That's on purpose. Hey, Tara, what's going on? Yeah, it can fit inside of an airplane. Yeah, the bagger. The bagger is good. Good Deutsch engineering, Toto. That shows what the Germans can do when they put their mind to it. No, the bagger is amazing, dude. That's one of the craziest pieces of infrastructure. I mean, and it'd be foolish to say that Germans don't know how to engineer things. That would be very foolish. So yeah, the S4 came in on a runway and then they had to tow it. So that's why you have the wide radius there, because that, like, look at the dude. That is not a small upper stage. Fun fact here. That can fit inside of Starship's payload bay. That thing will fit inside of Starship's payload bay. Also, just for the ADD folks over here, there's a NASA Deuce and a half right there. Shameless plug for the NASA Deuce and a half. I want one. So, that's why those roads are radius. Now, down here, they did move the tower segments down this road, Havocs, right? But we know that SpaceX has filed permits with NASA to make this road, that part of the road. If you look after the VAB, it's not very big, right? That road is still designed for heavy infrastructure, but it's not designed for crazy heavy infrastructure all the time. You know, if you have a garden variety road, you move a heavy thing down at once, it's not that big of a deal. But you move a lot of heavy things down it all the time, the road will literally sink into the ground. Your subgrade is not big enough to be able to handle that load. The road can't carry the weight. It would be like driving a tank across a bridge made out of freaking toothpicks. It's not going to work. I mean, unless you build one heck of a strong toothpick bridge, right? There's better ways to do that. So that we know that SpaceX wants to upgrade this part of the road, specifically from here to there. If you go look at the permits around KSC, which are all public, you can see them. They want to upgrade from here to here. This little kind of S-curve. Now, what does that tell me? That tells me that this road right here, when they built it, shares the same bed as the crawlerway, and I don't think I need to say that that's designed to carry heavy things. It's the crawlerway. It can move 15 million pounds. It has a 15 million pound, like, load limit. Yeah, it's good. The road's good right here. So I can only assume that that's Starship transport to 39A, right? But here's the thing. Okay, so here's where this gets a little wonky, all right? And we talked this out on stream the other day. So if you look, these roads do have a weird radius here. The reason why these roads, and they look pretty new, right? The reason why they have a weird radius right here is because the Falcon 9 transporter is designed to drive over these roads. But that's about it. That is the load limit on these roads. I know because I know some of the crane operators. So if you see these cranes right here, I know some of the guys that run these cranes. They told me that the Falcon 9 is about as much as the Gator Hole Bridge can take. You cannot move a Starship segment over this. It's too heavy. That bridge will collapse. It'll probably be fine the first time. It'll probably be fine the second, third time. It's not designed for that type of infrastructure, right? It's like a covered bridge on an 8-lane highway. It's just not going to work. Now, you see that SpaceX put that radius in there to move Falcon 9s around. There's another weird radius, but it's for Falcon 9s again. You notice that road is not made out of anything particularly heavy. It's just asphalt. Asphalt is terrible at carrying heavy things. Like things that slow roll, asphalt is really bad for that. You'd want concrete for stuff that's really, really heavy. Now, don't get me wrong. Most highways are made out of asphalt, and asphalt can take like a big rig, right? A big rig or something. But most roads have weight limits on them for a really good reason. Now, if you're from Michigan, I don't think you are, but if you're from Michigan, Michigan roads are made out of concrete. A lot of them are. Why? Well, Michigan has a lot of heavy infrastructure around because there's that whole, factory thing going on there. So if you go to Michigan, you see trucks that are way over weight limit for everywhere else in the country. You see super heavy trucks with like tons of freaking axles, right? Would you say it's over a kilomile long? Oh, jeez. So, okay, Havocs, we got segments. So we have heavy infrastructure enough here to get to the 39A pad, right? That's concrete. That is enough to get you to the 39A Starship pad. And, well, we saw them do that. Right? So, this leads me with a couple of questions here. Unless SpaceX goes and starts upgrading these bridges, those tower segments will not be able to move across this. They can't traverse that. They'll break. Right? So, we have heavy infrastructure down the crawlerway to 39A. Also, well, I don't think this is a thing, we have heavy infrastructure also to 39B. I don't think that's going to be anything at all. Yeah, that would be foolish putting a Starship pad over here. So, let's gather the evidence here. Gather what we got. We have a 6-segment tower. Okay? And heavy infrastructure enough at this moment in time to get you to at least 39A. So that rules out, unless SpaceX upgrades that infrastructure, that rules out Slick 40. That rules out any other launch pad. The only launch pad that it rules in is notional LC-49. LC-49 is the pad that NASA wants to build. They want to build a dedicated commercial pad where 39C was supposed to be. Like, it's in this area right here. Now, SpaceX wouldn't go and build those tower segments for a pad that doesn't exist, right? I think that's a very reasonable thing to say. They wouldn't do that. There is a launch complex DLC for cities, Toto. Maryland has a lot of concrete highways due to proximity to DoD things and places. Yeah, if you need to move like tanks. Yeah. Hey, the X, how you feeling? Your voice sounds better today. Voice sounds better, but EJ's still not doing very well. This throat thing turned into a nose thing. So, yeah, I had the nastiest post-nasal drip last night. So it doesn't make sense for 39C. So what does it make sense for? Well, this is where this gets more fan theory. Okay? This is where this kind of moves to fan theory. So, a lot of people, not a lot of people, actually, let me start in a different spot. So, what do we know? What do we know about SpaceX's operations at the Cape? Okay? So 39A has Falcon Heavy support. It has Falcon 9 with crew access support and cargo Falcon 9. It can launch every version of Falcon 9, okay? 40 only can launch cargo Falcon 9. That's it. It could launch an uncrewed Dragon, so the Dragon resupply, but you can't launch crew and you can't launch Falcon Heavy from there. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, so SpaceX also, back at 39A, has a Starship pad. They want to launch from here. We know that in the future, SpaceX is going to have to, at some point, take 39A offline completely. The reason why they need to take 39A offline completely is because the Department of Defense is paying SpaceX to build a mobile service tower at 39A for vertically integrating payloads on Falcon Heavy. So this 39A is going to look like this in another couple of years. It's going to have a gigantic mobile service tower attached to the side, which is actually pretty cool. And the Department of Defense is also funding an extended payload fairing for Falcon Heavy. That is more in line with like an Atlas 500, which, I mean, Falcon Heavy with long fairing looks really good. So, we know that they're going to take this offline. This pad's going to go offline. And my guess, and once again, this is where this goes fan theory. So, actually, one more thing, an additional thing here. We know from Bill Gerstenmaier, a high up engineer at SpaceX. Gerst ran the shuttle program for like 30 years, or he was in the shuttle program for 30 years, and he left NASA in 2018. Jim actually fired him, which is kind of funny. and SpaceX picked him up for, they picked him up as an engineer for Starship because Gerst might have some things to say about making a reusable launch vehicle. Gerst, here, I'll show you a picture of the dude. Bill Gerstenmaier worked on the shuttle program for, well, here's a picture of Gerst. He has a mustache, and you should be jealous of it. He worked on the shuttle program literally since the start. He served 40 years at NASA, working on the shuttle. So he's the vice president, build and flight reliability at SpaceX. That's his job title. So he left NASA in 2018, and SpaceX immediately picked him up because this guy might have some experience with building reusable launch vehicles. Now, Gerst, in an interview with, I think it was Aviation Week, if I'm remembering right, he confirmed to Aviation Week that they are building a crew access arm for Pad 40 to launch crews off of. He confirmed that that's going to happen. He didn't say when and where it's going to happen. He just confirmed it. He said that they're going to build a crew access arm here. So, Havix, that also plays into what, we've been hearing about them. SpaceX is eventually going to need to take 39A offline for a little while. So, if they're going to take 39A offline for a little while and start working on it, that's when I would expect to start seeing some Starship launches from 39A whenever that thing goes down, right? That makes sense. Why was he fired? I forget. Jim didn't like he thought he was too slow in his implementation. All you need is extra long air stairs. Yep, that's right. So, isn't he the guy that was just super worn down working at NASA? Yeah, he had some choice things to say about the shuttle program, Aqualex, in that Aviation Week interview. It's very telling what he said in that interview. I don't have the link to it off the top of my head. Long story short, he said that there were bureaucratic processes in place with the shuttle program that intentionally hiked the cost. They could have gotten the shuttle down. They could have made the shuttle reliable. It could have been made to be reliable, which just pisses me off. He said that NASA's decision to take apart the shuttle engines after every flight actually ruined their reliability rate. So, believe it or not, taking the engines apart actually wears down components because you're torquing and detorquing things and you're stretching and bending metal every time you put the engine together. So the fact that NASA chose to take the engines apart every time to be safe actually made the thing less safe. Okay. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. Yeah, they are, Creeper. The DoD is paying them a good amount of money to build that mobile service tower there. Yep. So, I think when 39A goes offline, that's when we're going to start seeing Starship launches from here. But and once again, now we're kind of getting more and more into fiction. So, they're going to do crew launches down at 40, right? And that pad's going to be offline, so we won't see Falcon Heavies for a little while, right? I don't know, probably about a year. I mean, it's no different than what's going on right now, right? Even more evidence for why they wanted to throw it in Phantom Express. Yeah, RJ, Phantom Express was not bullcrap. Shuttle engines can be reused. They can be reused. NASA just never had the balls to actually go and reuse them with people on board, which kind of makes sense, but also at the same time, like, dude, this is something you could have proven at Stennis. Like, what the hell? That's why those things are there. Why don't you dry fire that shuttle engine, or not dry fire, you just wring the trash out of a shuttle engine and see what it does, just like what they did with the AR-22 program. It's really frustrating because, everybody, the shuttle has a bad reputation as being, it's not very good. It's killed a lot of people. Dude, that thing is literally one of the most Chad tier launch vehicles ever designed. And if NASA had followed through, dude, we'd still be flying it today because it's that good of a freaking design. Even if with its perceived like reliability problems, the thing still flew for 30 years, man. It's really annoying, and it really shows that the shuttle was better. It was way better designed than what everybody gives it credit for. That's the thing that's what originally made the stream successful. I tried to tell people this in 2014 when I started streaming, and people were like, "No, it's a death trap." I'm like, "You have no idea what you're talking about." Oh, you should have seen the crap I got back in the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, most people were screwing with me, but I get it. But so now, Havocs, let's get back to it. So they're going to take 39A offline. That is the perfect time to start doing Starship launches out of here, right? That makes perfect sense. You take one pad down, you use the other one. You can work on a pad in the background while you're launching from it. We know because they've been building this quietly in the background while 39A has been operational. Okay. Now, what don't you want to happen at 39A when Starship's pad is online? You do not want Starship and Super Heavies coming back down here, because if they do, and they miss the catch tower, you're damaging infrastructure that the Department of Defense is paying you for. I don't think Uncle Sam would take too kindly to that. Oh, that building that we paid you $300 million to make, yeah, a Super Heavy just flew through it. Sorry, we need another $300 million. No. No. That's not happening. When the DoD gets involved, they have final say. Their pockets are deep. Everybody knows this, right? So, Havoc, I think it's a perfectly reasonable theory, albeit fictional, that's based off of nothing. It's baseless. I have no way to prove it. I'm pretty sure they won't allow Starships to land at 39A when there's DoD infrastructure in proximity, right? Namely that thing, right? Because it ruins their assured access to space. Bingo. So, enter Greg Scott's pictures. We have 6 segments being made for whatever this thing is. I have a theory, and chat helped me figure this out. It's not just my theory. They're not building, you don't see any fueling paraphernalia around here, do you? You see some cryogenic pipes being worked on right here. But you don't see all the wires and all the infrastructure here that they built because they've been prefabricating segments. You only see the tracks for the chopsticks. So I have a theory that this 6-segment tower is only there to catch Starships. It's only there to catch Starships and Super Heavies when they come back down. So, you know, Starship launches. Starship can spend a couple of days up in space. Super Heavy comes back down right away. They catch it. They take it off the tower. They roll it away. And then Starship comes back down, they catch it. So a dedicated catching tower, right? I know it sounds kind of crazy, but why would you build a 6-segment tower? That makes no sense. I agree, RJ, yeah. So, I know, like, a tower dedicated to catches doesn't sound right, but also, the DoD ain't gonna let SpaceX try to land rockets when their infrastructure's on the line, right? That doesn't, of course they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that, right? So, now, to rope this all together, so we have a dedicated tower for catching. Where would you catch one of these things? Where would you catch it? You don't necessarily need anything crazy, but you do need something. You do need something that has the access for the infrastructure, right? You do need something that can build the tower, and the roads going to it need to be strong enough to do it. That is the bottleneck right there. They can't go further than this. So where would they build it, Havocs? Where would they do it? Well, here's where my theory comes into play. And once again, this is a baseless theory. I have no idea. I kind of just want to see this because I thought it would be cool. I did some math out the other day on stream, and we figured out that a 6-segment tower with a 6-segment tower that's bolted to some kind of mobile launcher would fit inside of the VAB. It'd fit inside of the VAB doors. LZ1 and LZ2, you can't get to it. Seriously, you can't get to LZ1 and 2. That's the bottleneck. Right there. You can't get down here. The reason why you can't get down here is because these bridges, the NASA Causeway right there, and the ITL Causeway right here, and down here you have the Port Canaveral drawbridge, not load rated. Can't move heavy stuff across those things. That is specifically why those bridges are there, so you can move heavy stuff in through the Port Canaveral locks and take it up the Banana River to the turning basin. Seriously, there's no land access. That is the closest thing that you're going to get to land access to LZ-1 for heavy infrastructure. Think about it. All that infrastructure was never designed to move something Saturn V size. That is quite literally the reason why that pad exists. It's not designed for super heavy launch vehicles. So, playing off the fact that SpaceX is not going to upgrade this road, and they're building a 6-segment tower, I honestly think that it is a plausible, albeit unrealistic, it's a plausible theory that SpaceX is going to buy Crawler Transporter 1 and make a mobile launcher platform that's not designed to launch anything. It's designed to catch Starship. Now, before you say, EJ, that sounds dumb. Well, you could say that, and that would be fair. You'd probably be right. But think about it for a second. Let me sell you on it. Sell me this pen, EJ. All right. Catching tower. SpaceX ain't going to catch one on the first try. I am optimistic that they can nail the catch. They ain't going to do it on the first try. If they do it on the first try, I'm going to be pretty damn impressed. Is the road SpaceX uses to transport boosters from LZ-1 to 39A? Yes, it is, Lunprod. Yeah, and I know for a fact that it's not load rated for tower segments or starships. You can't move starships out there. Seriously, can't move starships to Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So, Tavish, let me sell you on it. They need a tower for catching. Where's the tower going to go? Don't know. I have no idea. What I do know is that we have an infrastructure capping point right here. Can't go further than that bridge that goes over the Pintail Creek. Can't do it. So, they're not going to catch it on the first try either. It most likely will miss and damage the tower, right? So, my theory is that if you have a catch tower that's just designed for receiving starships, right? And that tower is most likely going to get broken, right? And if it breaks, you have a bottleneck. Now you can't launch starships because you can't catch. You can't catch them because they won't allow you to catch them at 39A. You got to prove it. You got to prove that you can catch reliably. Don't you think it would be kind of smart to be able to make tower segments that can be easily swapped out? And if one tower does get damaged from a catch, one of these 6-segment catch towers, if one of them does get damaged, you pick it up, roll it into the VAB, fix it, roll another one out, and use that one for catching so you never have a bottleneck in catch attempts. Think about it. My theory, Havocs, and once again, it's completely baseless. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. I'm probably wrong. My theory is that SpaceX is going to have one of these high bays, and that high bay is going to be used to house the catching system. Would NASA be okay with crawlerway damage delaying an Artemis launch? Well, here's the thing, Talon. This segment from here forward, NASA doesn't use. They use this. So they could just put the catch tower right here. They could put it on pegs and just put it right there. It's load rated for it, right? It's heavy enough. You're not catching a fully fueled booster, so it doesn't need to be strong like the pad, right? Think about how heavy Falcon 9's launch pads are comparatively to the drone ship or a landing site. It doesn't need to be that. Doesn't need to be on like super heavy graded terrain, right? That doesn't make any sense. Will they catch them out at sea eventually? Goose, I think that's a tentative plan, but I have no idea. So if they could catch right here on this segment, wouldn't have to worry about it wrecking stuff for Artemis. And once they catch a Starship, they could put it back on an SBMT, take it back over to the pad, or they could roll the whole thing, the whole caught Starship, back into the VAB, and you essentially use the VAB as Starship's hangar. You're using the VAB just like they use the OPFs for the shuttle program, a Starship Processing and Payload Integration Facility. It makes sense, dude. If my fan theory is correct, I predict a crawler transporter rolling out here, not necessarily with a fully stacked Starship, but a crawler transporter rolling out with something akin to the Saturn V mobile service tower. Something like this. But with a Starship, like, in the tower. See what I'm saying? You're going to see something like that with the catch tower. Which makes perfect sense. It makes perfect. I mean, it's a little out there. I'm not gonna sit there and pretend like it's not. It's a little bit of an out there theory, but it does make sense. The other thing that I think could happen here is that SpaceX could take the crawlerway and they could radius it and extend the crawlerway between the HIF and the SpaceX Crew Integration Facility right here. I think that's what that's called. They could extend it and make the crawlerway go past the BDA perimeter, and they could place the catch tower over here. The catch tower being out over here away from the fueling infrastructure could also work. That's also a theory that I have floating around. Now, third theory. I've said in the past that LC-49 right here, Complex 49, I've said in the past that that's a notional launch complex. But, okay, we know that NASA wants to use it for commercial, and we know they want to use it, they want to build a big launch site there. So it's going to be something analogous to this and this for commercial purposes. Obviously, it's for SpaceX. Like, it could be for Blue Origin, maybe. But Blue Origin has Complex 36. So it's unlikely. But it could be. You never know. So, okay, if you were going to build 39C, how would you go about building it? If you're going to build a Starship launch tower out here, you need heavy infrastructure. You need industrial power, obviously. Right? And you need a big freaking road. Heavy infrastructure, right? You need a big road. You need power. You need a bunch of stuff. So if we play off the notion that the pad is going to be, this is the notional area for LC-49. It's right there, right? That's where NASA wants to make it. Okay, where's the closest heavy infrastructure and closest heavy road? Over here? It's 5 kilometers away from the closest heavy road. The crawlerway is 4.5. It's closer. I think that SpaceX is going to build those mobile catch towers, and they're going to temporarily use them out here. And then later down the road, they'll use it to swap out. They'll use it to swap out catch towers if they get damaged using the crawler transporter. And now, if people are still skeptical, all right, there's another thing. People say, oh, EJ, the crawler transporter is so slow. What do you mean? Well, the crawler transporter is actually a pretty quick way to move a 15 million pound launch pad a couple miles. It's actually probably one of the fastest ways that you can actually do that. Remember, this whole thing, the crawlerway, the crawler transporters, the VAB, 39A, 39B, this was all designed during the Apollo program. The Apollo program anticipated us going to the moon 12, 13, 14, 15 times a year. They didn't build this system to go slow. We ended up using it slowly because we didn't build this system to go slow. This whole thing is designed to put rockets and launch pads out on the pads very quickly. Think about it. Think about it. The crawler transporter can get to 39B in 12 hours. With SLS, right? You can get to 39A in like 6, because it's not nearly as far, right? I think it's 8 actually, but it can get there. The point is, it can get there, it can move heavy infrastructure, right? If you want a swappable pad, it favors this kind of design. And if SpaceX ain't gonna nail it on their first try, and they ain't gonna risk a launch tower either, because that's a lot of critical infrastructure down the drain, right? So I foresee in the future, possibly, once again, completely baseless theory, who knows? I foresee in the future SpaceX being able to swap out OLMs from Launch Complex 49, take them back to the VAB, fix them, and then roll them back out. If you have a twin pad complex up here, or even just a single one, SpaceX ain't launching every day. That is a pipe dream that's not going to happen for a long time. Now, do I think Starship could launch every day in the future? Yes, absolutely. Sure. That's a pipe dream for right now. That's a far, far off goal. So the more and more you think about it, you know, the more this makes sense. It's a catch tower. It's a tower that's designed for catching. Now, I personally think that SpaceX is going to buy one of the shuttle mobile launcher platforms and they're going to put this thing on it. That's the only thing that makes sense. The reason why it's the only thing that makes sense is because SpaceX wouldn't be building a tower for a pad that doesn't exist. They did do that in Boca Chica, but you get the idea. Yeah, Prey, that's my theory. It's just a theory, though. I learned on the KSC tour that the crawlerway gravel is a special rock that has low iron content to avoid sparks. They also have to add new travel regularly because it gets compressed a lot. Yes, they used river rock. River rock from Tennessee, Kentucky, and Mississippi. It is a porous style of rock. So, Kinder, you know Falcon 9. Falcon 9 has the crush cores, right? And the crush cores absorb energy when Falcon 9's coming down. It's a shock absorber, but it's like a one-time use shock absorber. They use river rock because it does the same thing. The crawlerway is a gigantic crush core. So when the crawler transporter goes by, all the kinetic energy that's being pushed on those rocks gets absorbed in the form of them crushing themselves. That absorbs the load. And that makes it so the crawler, which is like 3 million pounds, right? And the launch pad, which is like 15 million pounds, doesn't sink into the swamp. It's an ingenious freaking idea. It's really smart. That's how they got around building a super heavy launch complex in a swamp. The crawlerway. That's the key. Or else the entire crawlerway would have to look like pad 39A with a big concrete freaking like wide concrete path. It would have to look like that. That's the only way to not get it to sink. And even then, the concrete pad would probably sink into the ground because it's not wide enough. But yeah, they use literally crush core rocks. That absorbs the load. Yep. Smart. There's not really a better way to do that. If you made this out of concrete, the crawler transporter would crush it. It would just sink right through it. They knew that. So they said, all right, as long as if we make the crawlerway out of concrete, it's just going to crush the damn thing. So why don't we make it out of rock that's really inexpensive and really cheap and really easy to resurface? They made a road structure that's really easy to resurface. Because if this was asphalt, it would crush it. If it was concrete, it would crush it. And then you have to go and you have to cast concrete, or you have to go and you have to repave it. No. Just make a gravel road. Gravel roads are easy to resurface. Smart. Once again, it's designed for high frequency. This whole system was designed with the idea that we were going to launch a Saturn V once a month. That's the whole idea. And then, even after that, when they were launching the shuttle, 39A was supposed to support a shuttle launch frequency of 2 times a month. The crawlerway and the whole complex of 39, it can support launching once a week if you really know what you're doing. It was designed for that. See what I'm talking about? That's perfect for SpaceX. That's exactly what they need to get Starship to work. When you think about it, it makes sense. Havoc's certainly a solid fan theory. It will be really interesting to see how this plays out. Havoc's, I think the truth of the matter is that SpaceX doesn't even know what they want to do right now. I think that's the truth. SpaceX doesn't know what they want to do. I think that this is definitely one of the ideas that Elon has floating around in his head, because Elon likes to sell ideas. That's what he likes doing. I can give you an example. He likes to sell ideas. He won't necessarily do the most efficient thing because they have to sell the idea of space. A good example is the spacesuits. The spacesuits for Dragon look cool. They look cool, don't they? They're definitely very aesthetic. That is entirely on purpose. Because Elon's trying to sell the idea of what a spacesuit should look like in the 21st century, right? That makes sense. I'll give you another example. Not a lot of people know this one, but this is a cool example nonetheless. Okay, so this is an old picture, but this is from 2016. This is the transporter at Vandenberg, okay? This is the transporter erector from Vandenberg, the one at Slick 4E, right? We watched the Starlink launch off of this the other day. And it's not white anymore. They painted it gray. Now, they roll the TE to the pad. They roll it to the pad. Pretty straightforward stuff. What's that? What's that? You should be able to know what that is. Everyone should know what that thing is. It's an airport tug. Obviously. 39A uses airport tugs as well. Not a lot of people know that either. How do you think they roll that gigantic transporter erector to the pad? Airplane tugs. Airplane tugs are pulling on the aft truck here to push the whole damn thing to the pad. They're towing the whole TE to the pad. It's not motorized, that's for sure. Airplane tug. There's a good example. That's what I mean. You see an airplane tug, you see, oh, this is designed to do work. It's an airplane tug, right? That makes sense. Now, here's another thing. Consider this. They wanted to sell this. I know from actually a personal, not a personal anecdote here, but I know this from the guy that designed this dang thing. I've talked to the guy that designed that transporter erector before. I had the pleasure of talking to the dude. His name's Eric. He's a really nice guy. He doesn't work at SpaceX no more, though. So he designed the Slick 40 transporter erector and this thing, and the Slick 4E transporter erector. Now, the reason why there's an airport tug there is because Elon wants to sell the idea of the rocket rolling out like an aircraft, right? 39A has it. Slick 4E has it at Vandenberg on the other side of the country. Now, here's the crazy part. Here's the kicker. That guy told me next time I look at a picture, and keep in mind, I talked to him back in 2016. He told me the next time I look at a picture of the Vandenberg transporter erector, look at the wheels. No, they didn't, drummer. At least, no. Well, I'm not sure. Probably. Those wheels look familiar? Anybody? Those are airplane tires. They're airplane tires. That's right. Anybody know what plane? I'll give you a hint. This plane has a lot of wheels. Oh, Alarmy took this picture. Don't worry, guys. They're 747 bogies. That is entirely on purpose because Elon was insistent on making this thing roll out like an airplane. Those are 747 wheels. They're absolutely 747 wheels. They look exactly the same. I don't need to know looks. I know the guy that designed the stupid thing. I know they're 747 wheels. I even know, he's even told me where they bought them from, which is like, okay. Look at the back wheels on the TE. They're 747 wheels. Because 747 wheels are designed to carry load. Because 747s are freaking heavy. And they want it, when they built this, they wanted it to roll out like an airplane. Makes sense, right? Oh, look, the 39A transporter has them too. Huh, funny how that works. Now it looks like they switched to train bogies out here. Those are train bogies out the back for the back part. The reason why is because this thing is, rails are probably better because Falcon heavy, but they probably got used ones cheap. That is the exact reason, Concrete. They bought them surplus. So it's not past SpaceX to use infrastructure to sell the idea, right? To sell the idea of space. So another example, I can give you another example of this. So if we go through my research folders here, right? And we go down to my shuttle research pictures. Check this out. This is my private collection of shuttle stuff, just collected from around the internet. Let me find them. Yeah, it's for research. It's for research like this or something, or whatever. Let me find them. They're in here somewhere. Here, let's just start looking through. We'll start rifling through the pictures. Try to fast forwarding, sir. Oh, yes, that thing. The stack has happened, Chuck, yeah. So check this out. Look. The Falcon 9 transporter. Uh-oh. What's that thing? Oh, funny how that works. This picture was taken in 1985. That picture was taken in 2011. That picture was taken in 2016. That's the same vehicle. SpaceX has a very, very particular habit about buying ex-NASA infrastructure. Oh, I don't know. 39A would be a good example. Seriously. The transporter that was originally designed to move space shuttles around Vandenberg Air Force Base for the Air Force, you know, when the Air Force Space Shuttle program went belly up, was then used to move shuttles. Drummer, they did use tugs to tow the shuttle back to the OPF, but to get the shuttle from the OPF to the VAB, they used that for the rest of the shuttle program, post-1986, because the Air Force pulled out in 1986 after Challenger didn't work. Yep, and then SpaceX bought it for 37 grand. I was not making that up. It was a government auction. They had to disclose the price. SpaceX scored this thing for 37 G's and then put a bracket on it to hold Falcon 9, and they still use it to move Falcon 9s around the Cape to this day. That's what those radius Havocs, that's what the radius right there, that's what that was built for. It was built for transporting Falcon 9 cores around from the landing sites. True story. To kind of wrap this all together, dude, if we go down here and look at Roberts Road, there it is. It's pulling a Falcon 9 into the hangar in this picture. Technically, 39A is leased, not bought. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Think how great you could have it. Move around all your vehicles at a new place. Yep. See that? SpaceX has a knack for buying ex-NASA infrastructure. And they want to sell the idea of space. The VAB is a very good way to do that. I think that's definitely one of the ideas that they're considering, Havocs. And while I don't think that is exactly what they're going to do, I definitely do think that this is a catch tower. I'm the only one that seems to think that it's going to be a mobile catching tower, though. But, like I said, stranger things have happened. I said NASA would never choose Starship. I said NASA would never choose Starship as their landing system for the Artemis program, yet here we are. So, who knows? It's just a theory. Wouldn't that be cool, though? Seeing SpaceX use the VAB and use it as a Starship processing facility? How are Falcon 9 second stages transported before being attached to the booster? Truck. Yeah, it's just that they use a regular trailer Oridon, but it's a trailer with a cover on it, so you wouldn't know. Actually, you want to see something cool? I'll show you something cool. We got to go back to my research folder here. Take a look at this. If we go into the Falcon research pictures. Now, these pictures aren't just stuff that I got for, because I like certain pictures. I have all these pictures here to show you guys different things. So it's transported via truck, and I'm not sure I have a particular picture of that, but, I do have a picture of Falcon 9 with no payload fairing on it, and just the cap from the second stage, right? Yeah, there's the old Starship pad. Now, cursed. Yeah. Yeah, here. How about this picture? I have a picture of that stack being static fired with no payload fairing on top. See? Oh, look, there's your airport tugs down there. Funny how that works. There's your airport tugs. That's why SpaceX built this triangular thing here so they could roll to the pad. Excuse me. Where's the picture that I want to show you? Give me 1 second. I actually don't think I have this picture in here. I'm scanning through the pictures. You guys can see them too. This is my... So, like I said, these research pictures, I know you make jokes, but these pictures are here for a very good reason. I have these pictures here to study how SpaceX puts this stuff together. It helps me analyze what they're doing. It helps me figure things out. Like, all these pictures are here for a very particular reason. Like, I know the exact reason why I got this picture. I got this picture to show people how sound suppression systems work. If you notice, the Rainbirds on the left are firing before the Rainbirds on the right. The system isn't fully primed when this picture was taken. Anybody know why? It's not sequenced. That's not intentional. Pressure, that has something to do with it. Where's the pressure coming from? It's a gravity-fed system. Where's the water tower? The water tower's on the right side of the pad. So if we take a picture looking back, the left side of the pad would be the right side of the pad. So these things end up firing just a second before those things because water pressure. Yeah. See? You still have to fill the hose up with water. It doesn't matter how much water you're moving. In one side, if one side's closer to the source of water than the other side, it's going to fire first. Interesting, huh? I have all these pictures are here for a reason. But, except for that one. I just thought that picture was cool. I got that one for figuring out how they put the payload fairing on. There's the Vandenberg 747 wheel picture. There's pictures of the TE. Yeah, I don't... Oh. Yeah, baby. Should the deluge system be on before the engines start? It is. That's the sound suppressor. Sound suppressors and pad deluge systems are very different. Geek, okay. Little bit of a lesson here. So you have the launch deck, right? Where the rocket's attached to. You have the launch deck, the reaction frame, or just the mobile launcher platform, or whatever, right? Anything that's above that is a sound suppressor. Anything that's below that is a deluge system. Now, here's another thing. If it's below the launch deck, it's a deluge. It's a deluge system, right? But if it's at the end of the flame, if it's at the end of the flame trench, that's also a sound suppressor too. Deluge systems and sound suppressors are two different things. I know people throw that around interchangeably. I see people do that all the time. For the longest time, I had no idea they were two different things. I just thought that was a swappable name. No, they're absolutely two different things. They're two way different things. The deluge system is in the pad. The sound suppressor is above the pad. Right? Or it's in the flame trench. Either one. Now, I gotta find this picture about second stages. Hang on. I thought I had this picture in here, but I must have it somewhere else. You want to see something cool? I'm trying to find the picture here. Here we go. Here we go. So remember that transporter that I showed you guys? The one that can move Falcon 9 first stages around? You guys want to see something cool? And this is basically off of the person that asked, you know, how do they move the second stages around? Well, it's by truck. They roll the truck into the VAB, right? And they actually put a sling, or the HIF, they put a sling underneath the second stage. The second stage is just hoisted up by basically a big swing. Similar to how SpaceX fishes the fairings out of the sea. They just have basically a big ratchet strap that picks the entire second stage up, and then they move it into place with the gantry crane. There's no way for the cranes to bolt to that second stage. I'm serious. Why? Why do you need it to bolt? Just pick it up. It's the second stage. It needs to bolt to the first stage, and it needs to bolt to the payload fairing. You can't pick it up anywhere. What are you going to do? Pick it up from the front? Well, what's that going to do? That's going to pick up the front, and then the thing will go vertical. You don't want that. Pick it up with a gigantic sling, if you really want to know. And the payload fairings, too, for what it's worth. But that's when they fish them out of the water, not for integration. But, see that transporter? Check this out. You want to see something cool? What's up with that picture? Everything is sequenced, geek, on the pad. It happens in order. It's like hitting the two-step on a drag strip. You know, you hit the two-step, trans brake, right? And then you put the anti-lag on, and then you shut one off, shut the other off, and then you go, right? It's all a sequence thing. It's a sequence launch. That's why they call them launch sequencers, because everything has to happen at a certain time. You don't want to spray water on the engines when they're lighting, when they're starting up. That you could quite literally hydrolock a rocket engine. that would be very bad. You do not want to do that. So check out this picture. You see, you know, oh, it's moving around. It has a second stage attached to it, guys. Yeah, just in case anybody... Look, there's a second stage attached to that thing. SpaceX can move entire Falcon 9 stacks around on the transporter. It also ain't got no legs. Yeah. What launch number was today's booster? 10 flights on that one, Tessa. And it's also 10 flights on that one, and that booster moved Inspiration 4 into space and Axiom 1. So that booster's moved 8 souls. And it came back and landed. Is that a second stage or just the inner stage? No, Katra, that's the second stage. The inner stage is right here. That's the second stage. They can move full Falcon 9 stacks around with the transporter. This gave SpaceX the ability to basically be able to integrate a stack anywhere. This is part of the reason why SpaceX, that right there is part of the reason why SpaceX was able to achieve fast turnaround times. It literally is because of that shuttle transport vehicle, which was designed to fly and be used a lot. Well, the thing wasn't designed to fly, but it was designed to be used a lot, damn it. Ugh. It was designed to move space shuttles. It should have done that. Satana. But it's okay. It's getting used now, and that's all that matters. That makes it so SpaceX can build stacks. They can build a Falcon 9 stack at 39A. And that 39A stack that was integrated can move to pad 40. And they could just put it on the TE pad 40. They can move full Falcon 9 stacks around. Heck, they don't even have to integrate them right there. SpaceX can integrate, they can put a second stage. They can put a second stage on the transporter erector here and then move an entire Falcon 9 stack to the TE. That's what Hangar X is supposed to, that's what Hangar X is for. It's Falcon 9 first stage processing facility. And we definitely know from the garage door you can actually see the shadow from the garage door. From the garage door that they put there, that second stages can go in here. See, this is what I mean about being observant, guys. And Havocs, if you're still here, that is the reason why that radius is there. Because that's the only way to be able to do that. To be able to move a full Falcon 9 stack down to pad 40. It's the only way to do it. Yeah, I know, Tessa. People only really care if it's a booster that has high reuse rate. Good. Good. I want it to be boring. Please. It's got to be a huge three-point turn if you mess up. Orion, there's a reason why the radius on these roads are really high. That's what I mean. This is how you can discern basically what a company, what SpaceX is going to do, what Rocket Lab is going to do. You can discern anything by looking at the satellite pictures. The Department of Defense figured this out in the 60s. You can see what they're going to do. It's very easy to spot if you know what to look for, right? That radius right there is for the transporter. It's for that thing, because that thing has a terrible turning radius, because it turns out when you're moving a 50-meter booster around, you have the turning radius of a battleship. Yeah. So they radius the roads, because it's easier to radius the roads than to build a better transporter, right? The heavy infrastructure, really easy to spot, man. Oh, look. Oh, look, the entrance to pad 40 has a radius built in, and you can literally see the tire tracks from the transporter when it left it there. And it goes down in here, and then it goes down here, and then it goes over here, and then it backs the stack in. They pick the stack up with the gantry crane in there. They pick it up, they hang it for a second, roll the TE in, and then let it down. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? It's like trying to steer lumber through a Home Depot. You're not wrong. Yep. So personally, my theory, dudes, is that the Mechazilla that they're building at the Cape is literally going to be for catching starships. It's going to be for catching starships. Yep. And it's going to be built on a mobile launcher, and it'll be able to go inside of the VAB. Now, what'll really cement my theory is if SpaceX builds another six jig launch platform, if they build another stubby catch tower, because that means they're building two. So they're hot swappable. A hot swappable catching tower. Can you believe that we're even talking about this? Is that ridiculous or what? I did see it, guy. Yep. Completely unrelated, but Timberborn's great. Yep. Just a little worse radius than a Crown Vic. Yep. Yeah, Wrecker. I can foresee in the future SpaceX moving Starship via a barge to the Cape, because Starbase, the factory at Starbase, is way further along. It's already making Starships than the one at 39 at Roberts Road, right? So I can foresee them moving Starships, around via barge and super heavies for now. But in the future, I don't see any reason why SpaceX wouldn't be able to launch a Starship from Boca Chica, because they only have one pad at Boca Chica. So you probably won't see catches from here, at least not maybe in the immediate, but it's a very possible scenario in the future that SpaceX will launch Starships into space. This thing will catch super heavy, right? And they'll catch the Starships at 39 after the Starship has been up in space. It's entirely possible. That seems actually like what you should do. I learn so much every time I come to the stream. Thank you for watching, Sir Toy. Magnifique. Merci beaucoup. Also, transporting wide wheel parts requires a large radius. I saw an Insta video where a train crashed into a wing because the truck could not make the corner and got stuck on the rails. Yep. That'd be a 5-minute trip. I don't think they're going to suborbital hop, Wrecker. I don't think they're going to hop from Texas to Florida. I'm talking about a Starship launching Starlink satellites from here, right? A prototype like Ship 24 or Ship 25. Going up, going into orbit, deploying the satellites, and then coming back down and landing. I think you're right, but it'd be cool if they did. Well, I personally think coming back from orbit would be cooler. I mean, even if it went up, did one orbit, came around, and then tried to attempt to land at the Cape on those mobile catch towers that I'm talking about, right? I would be hard-pressed to find a faster way to get from Brownsville, Texas to Titusville, Florida in 1 hour and 30 minutes. You'd be hard-pressed to find a faster way. Even Starship going around and doing a freaking orbit is still faster than anything. That's still faster than an airplane. And the thing went all the way around the damn world. Think about it. How long does it take to get from Houston to Orlando via a plane, which is a similar distance? That's a 2.5 hour flight. Starship would make it there in an hour and 30 minutes. There's no short-term plan for recovering Starship or Super Heavy at Boca. Boca's tower arms are kind of sus. Prey, I think that they're going to build... I think they're going to build mobile launch platform catch towers. Or just mobile catch towers. Mobile catching platforms. MCPs. I think they're going to build them, and I think that SpaceX is going to lease CT-1. I think they're going to lease it. NASA refurbished CT-2 for the Artemis program. CT-1 is it still works. It's a runner. It runs and drives, but it's old. It has not been refurbished. Actually, that's CT-2 right there. That's CT-1. I think SpaceX is going to lease it. I'm dead serious about that. NASA doesn't need a second one because of their low frequency of flights. They should. And I think SpaceX is going to use High Bay 2 as a Starship integration and catch tower maintenance facility. Once again, it's plausible, but it's a baseless theory. They release one and then copy it with an improved version. They could do that, Animal. I don't see why they wouldn't. Heck, they might make their own crawler transport. Can you imagine seeing Animal seeing a NASA still flies? Don't say that even as a joke, SWK. It hurts. Can you imagine, dude? SpaceX making their own crawler transporter? Dude, what would that thing look like? You know it wouldn't be a one-off thing like this. It would be made with off-the-shelf components. It would probably end up looking like a bastardized version of a Liebherr 11,000. SpaceX would probably use just surplus crane parts and then make their own CT, right? Like, how ridiculous would that actually be? Coop went to Disney World. Now, actually, check this out. If you look at my buddy Justin's Twitter here. Want to see something nuts? Here, check this out. Where are you? Where are you? Here, let me pop out here and find it. You guys want to see what's going on at the Cape? Justin's a good follow. He's a good dude, good buddy of mine. I'm trying to find the picture that he posted. Oh, look. There's those tanks. It's funny. Nice tugboat. Oh, where's that other picture? He had a picture of more... Huh, I know where that is. Don't smoke there. Oh, that's a pretty good picture. I'm trying to find it, but... Oh, look. It's in there somewhere. Somewhere around there is a picture of more SpaceX labeled crawler transport... Or crawler train... crawler crane tracks. That's what I'm trying to say. Somewhere in there. I'd have to go find it. Laugh it up, fuzzball. Excuse me. Oh, there they are. Curious. Interesting, Richard. Yes, provocative. Man, you think that thing's tied down? Fellas, you can always tell how heavy something is by the amount of wheels underneath it. The more wheels underneath something, the heavier it probably is. Look at trains. Trains have a lot of wheels because trains are heavy. Yeah, funny story. See what I'm talking about? Man, that thing, dude, that is chunky. It looks brand new. SpaceX is buying Liebherr cranes wholesale, dude. Yeah, they're buying Liebherr cranes like left and right. So, like I said, if SpaceX was gonna make their own crawler, I wouldn't be surprised if it was made out of spare crane parts, because that's what SpaceX does. Very similar to our X shuttle transport vehicle here. That has a lot of wheels because it was designed to move a 60-ton space shuttle around. Yeah, funny story. Those crawler transports, those can move 15 million pounds around. Now, I keep saying 15 million pounds if people need a kilogram thing here. $6.8 million kilos. Yeah, just to be absolutely sure. Yeah, that thing can move 6,800 tons. Those things. Yeah, 6,800 tons, metric tons. That's, yeah, those they're pretty strong. Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, pretty much animal. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? So yeah, there's my theories on that. Anyway, I think the stacking is done. It was done basically before I went on this, but yeah. How much is that in gigagrams? 3. Do you think we'll see modular launch pads capable of launching multiple types of rockets, thereby allowing smaller companies to get into the business without having to build all the infrastructure themselves, kind of like airports? Theix, what you're describing is a clean pad design. Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah. Remember LC-49, the pad that I said that, you know, is going to be built? I think it's going to be a clean pad because it's in NASA's best interest to build another clean pad. Why? NASA has this freaking obsession with selling off parts of the VAB to commercial customers. I personally don't agree with that, but whatever. That's what they want. They're playing the whole multi-user spaceport type of thing, which is, I think that's a dumb idea. I think that's a stupid thing to do, to be 100% honest with you, considering you're literally trying to, you have infrastructure that no one else has. So unless they're renting this out to a company that wants to make a super heavy launch vehicle, then how are you going to compete with the like hundreds of pads that the Air Force has, or the Space Force has at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station? You're trying to pawn off a 2-pad launch complex as a multi-user spaceport, which is hilarious to me. Like, I always had a problem with it, and frankly, I think people are going to hate me for this. You're going to hate me a lot, and I get it. It's probably deserved. I think that NASA leasing 39A to SpaceX was a mistake. I don't think that was a good idea. That will bottleneck NASA's future spaceflight aspirations in terms of going beyond low Earth orbit. Yeah, that's a bad idea. There's a reason why the Apollo program built 2 pads. There's a very good reason for that. Because at some point, you're going to need to launch missions in rapid succession. Okay? Either if it's routine access to the moon, or because the mission architecture denotes that you need to launch 2 missions near each other. Like, for instance, Gemini 6A and Gemini 7. They needed to launch very close to each other. You needed 2 pads to do that, because one launched the target vehicle and the other one launched crew and the other one launched crew right after that. Or was it crew and a target vehicle? Maybe it was a target vehicle. I forget. But at some point, if you're going to do some rendezvous transfer vehicle building in space, you're going to need multiple pads. Or like you said, design a pad that can be quickly turned around. But here's the thing. The pads at 39A were designed to do that. You can turn around a pad in less than a day. If you want to put an entirely different rocket on that pad, give it a week. No other launch pad has that capability. Why is it called 39A? So the entirety is complex 39. 39A is the pad that SpaceX uses. Snickers. Wasn't Northrop Grumman Omega the prospective customer? Exactly. So Theix, yes, you are onto something with clean pad design. I think the notional LC-49 launch complex is going to be a clean pad, which also makes a lot of sense if NASA wants to sell different high bays in the VAB for different customers, for different rockets. It makes perfect sense. Hey, Aquila, what's going on? 43-month resub. Long time no see. Ooh, I like that. That's nice, Forge. Why 39A? And why not 7? It was the 39th pad built at the Cape? Or 39th launch complex built at the Cape? LC7 is, yeah. 39C was in the pipeline, but was cut for budgetary reasons. Yep, NASA's budget got thrashed. It got halved in 1968. Bro Handy, funny story. Long story short, there's a lot of launch pads down there. There's a lot of X launch pads down here. Cape Canaveral Space Force Station was the first spot where we started testing out intermediate range ballistic missiles because it was super remote at the time. It still is. I mean, that's kind of by enforcement though because of the wildlife refuge. No, it's not. Hibbit, get out of here. So they started out here with Launch Complex 1, 2, 3, and 4. LC1, LC2, LC3, LC4. They were right here. You could see the 4 pads. And then, a little bit later, they wanted those... I forget what LC1, 2, 3, and 4 were designed for. I think they were designed for bumper. Let's see. Is a deactivated launch site on the eastern tip. It was constructed with launch complexes 2, 3, and 4 in the early 1950s for Snark. Oh, it's for Snark. Okay. That's funny. That's cutting edge for the time, dude. Is there a Starship test launch soon? No, Pikachu. They were just stacking today. They finished stacking here. I'll show you. They restacked the vehicle here. So they put ship 25 on the suborbital test pad. That's another Starship. And then they took ship 24 and stacked it. I'm doing fine. How's the new house? Great, man. Got to make room for spin launch too, Kappa. Oh, jeez. Spare me. Don't mind me, just taking my 50-meter tall rocket for a walk. This happened while Falcon 9 was launching, by the way. Voice sounds a lot better today. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. What's the stacking for? I don't know. Geek, between me being sick and just wanting to play like Kerbal and Timberborn and all the other games, I kind of lost track of what Starship is doing. Dude, even I lost track of it. They're doing cryo testing right now, and then they might do a static fire with a full stack later. But anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, which were for Snark. And then LC5 is down here. LC5 is where Mercury Redstone launched from. Yeah, there's LC5 and LC6. And then, you know, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Yeah, they built a lot of different pads. Now, keep in mind, there's not 41 launch pads here. Sometimes they built launch pads over other launch complexes. Sometimes they demolished a pad and they built a new pad and it didn't retain the name. I don't know what we'll play today, dudes. What's this? So this is coming from Zach. What's Zach up to? Ship 24 full stack looks a lot different at 2,000 speed. Oh yeah, just tap it in. Just tap it in. just tap it in. Just give it a little tappy. Tap, 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 taparoo. How are the two parts of Starship and Super Heavy held together? Neff, it's a clamp. You could see the clamping mechanism right there. So basically, pin goes into the hole, like, right? So this is, if you look at the bottom of Starship, the bottom of Starship is a lip. You can see the lip right there, right? So if this is the inside of Starship, that's the outside. You're looking at a side profile. They drop it down, and there's a clamp that goes over that lip. You can see it right where the mouse pointer is. That's the lip. That pedal-shaped thing is the clamp. They stack the thing, and then it clamps down. And I think there's 6 of them. This is another one from Zach. Yeah, see it right there? Oh, come on now. No, Forge, I don't know. I don't remember. Guess we flew over downtown Titusville as I was leaving home. The guppy! Nice, Loopy. Yeah, see it? See it right there? And then it just clamps in. Basically a car hood latch. You know what? That's a good way to say it, Caveman. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd call it that. Sure, why not?